Okay. Oh man, can you believe this? Can you believe what I'm reading here? Now, what if you just think about this for a second, guys? Say you were filled out your taxes for 2020, and then you realized after you filled out your taxes, you mailed them in, and you go for your PPP forgiveness loan, and you can't get it forgiven because of how you filled out your taxes. Wouldn't that suck? Because you fill out your taxes and you put in certain numbers in your tax forms that you normally put in every year, but you put them into this form this year, and then the PPP loan forgiveness says, we can't forgive your PPP loan because you filled out your taxes wrong, so now you got to pay your PPP loan. Wouldn't that suck? Well, let's not let that happen because it can. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over a few things here about the non-deductibility of the PPP funded expenses, because the IRS is sticking to their guns on this, and they want you to not be able to deduct any of that money that you may have spent through your PPP loan that could be forgivable. They're trying to say, if you do it, if you try to deduct that, we're not going to forgive your loan. Let's not let that happen. Like and subscribe to Speak and See, and hope you enjoy. Thanks. Crazy. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody doing today on this beautiful November 30th of 2020? We are in a predicament where taxes are coming due. We're all getting ready to file those taxes for 2020, and for those of you who are looking for that PPP forgiveness and still have yet to get it, this is probably why. One of the reasons is they are trying to fix a clause in the CARES Act where you will not be able to deduct any of your expenses that you used with the money for PPP, where you're normally going to deduct these things every year that you use the PPP to pay for this year. Your mortgage, your rent, your cost of goods, your payroll, everything, electric for your business, things that you normally would write off. Now you cannot write those off if you used PPP funded money for it. We're going to go into this real quick, and I'm going to try to make it quick and simple for you, as I have been going over this and reading the casework on it and the bills and the laws and the dotted I's and crossed T's for the last few days, and it's still very confusing. So I'm going to try to simplify this for you. Okay. What'll they think of next? In guidance issued late on Wednesday, the IRS reiterated its position that taxpayers cannot claim a deduction for any otherwise deductible expense. This news is it's not good for small businesses who took this loan, saying that we're not allowed to use the deductions, because what they're saying is, hey, you can't use your PPP loan that's going to be forgiven because you really were given the money for free. So the taxes you paid on anything, you really didn't pay the taxes. You used the money that were given to you from taxes. So now you want to get taxes back on that. So it's kind of like a double dip. And it kind of is. Yes, it is. So it kind of throws us off in a way where, oh crap, it is a double dip. They're right. And is there anything we can do about it? Well, let's keep going. Excludes from gross income any amount forgiven under the PPP. Excludes it. In May, the IRS issued a 2032 providing that taxpayers that receive a loan through PPP is not permitted to deduct expenses that are normally deductible under the code to the extent of the payment of those expenses result in a loan forgiveness act or under the CARES Act. So they're saying you're not permitted to deduct expenses that are normally deductible, that you normally would. And it's IRS issued notice 2032. We're gonna go take a look at this, because This notice is right here. Is the purpose the guidance regarding the deductibility for federal income tax purposes, certain otherwise deductible expenses incurred in the taxpayer's trade or business when the Section 11.6I of the CARES Act operates to exclude from the gross income of the recipient any category of income that may arise from a covered loan forgiveness, regardless of whether such income would be properly characterized as income from the discharge of indebtedness under the Section 61A11 of Code or to otherwise audible gross income. So section, okay, let me see something here. For subchapter B, chapter 1 of the code, these exceptions include section 265 of the code. See also 261. I think the people who wrote it don't even have an idea. They don't even have a clue. The people who wrote this don't even know what the heck is going on. The IRS cites section 265A1, which disallows a deduction from otherwise eligible expenses to the extent of the payment of those eligible expenses to be allocable to tax-exempt income in the form of reasonably expected covered loan forgiveness. The IRS says that the fact that the tax-exempt income may not have been accrued or received by the end of the taxable year does not change the result because the disallowance applies whether or not any amount of tax-exempt income in the form of covered loan forgiveness and to which eligible expenses are allocable is received or accrued. I just figured out a way out of it. So what we're trying to find here is where we can best find a way out of it. I think I did. Ooh. I've got billions of dollars worth of information in my mind right now. I've got billions of dollars of information in my mind right now. Okay. So they want to play that. Wow. Okay. Want to play? Let's play. Okay. Now, we just went through that. Okay, doubles down PPP funds expenses. We basically, what they're saying is you cannot deduct whatever you used to pay for on your expenses with your money that you were given through PPP. You cannot deduct that. Okay? Got it. Okay, that's fine. Then I won't. I used 100%. 100%. I used all of it on payroll. As a 1099 person, I never really used payroll as a deduction. I used my rent, I used everything, but I didn't use payroll. So I'm going to take everything, put it in payroll. Everything is going into payroll for my business. And if that works for your business too, then you can use your other mortgage, cost of your goods, your working capital, your everything, electric, utilities, everything that you normally would have other than payroll. 100%. So use your expenses on other things. And there you go. Okay. I'm going to do that. Now here's another thing we want to go with. That's how I'm getting out of it. I don't know about you. So I'm still going to be able to claim my deductions. I'm going to be able to claim my mortgage. I'm still going to be able to claim everything because I'm using it on payroll. I'm using my PPP completely on payroll. I'll work the numbers out. I'll make it fit, and I'll put them in where I need to put them in for my business to thrive. The AICPA mobilizes members to push for deductibility PPP funded expenses. This is the part where we have to take note on. Okay. What I just said, what I just read, and going through all that stuff, which is hard to really get a grasp on, but in a nutshell says, no, you cannot deduct. You cannot use your PPP money as a deduction. Anything you spent your PPP money on, your PPP loan money on, you cannot use as a deduction in your gross income, for your gross income. Here's the part where we get into the gray again. Remember, the intent of Congress is same with the intent for Congress for the EIDL advance. Their intent was to give everybody $10,000, but they didn't. But they didn't wins. What their intent was and what they did are two different things. Now, we always try to rely on the intent. What was their intent? But we have to go back and fight for that intent. We don't have to fight on what it is. And what this is it's right now a non-deductible. You cannot deduct it. That's what it is. Now, the AICPA, American Institute of CPAs, believes the IRS's interpretation denying deductions expenses forgiven under the PPP is contrary to Congress's intent, and has continually advocated for legislation that would clarify that the receipt of the forgiveness of the assistance through the PPP does not affect the deductibility of ordinary business expenses. It does not affect the deductibility of the ordinary business expenses. Well, they're saying it does because you use that for ordinary business expenses. But now the AICPA is saying, well, what if we didn't use them for ordinary? We used them for what you made us use them for. We didn't use them for other stuff that we ordinarily would because you don't know what kind of business we run. So how could you know that? So the Congress's intent has continually advocated for the legislation that would clarify that the receipt and forgiveness of the assistance through the PPP does not affect the deductibility of ordinary business expenses. Specifically, the AICPA supports the passage of S3612 and of HR 6821. What's the S? Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's see what that act is. Because this is where it all comes down to. Everybody here in this channel knows that. And there it is. Senator Cornyn, we know who that is. He's the EIDL grant guy. And he's right now got 35 co-sponsors on this act of Small Business Expense Protection Act of S3612. So we go into that and we look at the text. Remember, we have 35 co-sponsors. Let's check them out. I want to see if partisan or bipartisan. Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Democrat, Republican. It's bipartisan bill. Look at this, guys. We may have a way out. To clarify the purpose, IRS 1986, the receipt of coronavirus assistance does not affect tax treatment of ordinary business expenses. Whoo. Oh. So Cornyn's saying, hey, this is different, guys. This is different. Now, Cornyn for himself, Grassley, Wyden, Rubio, Mr. Carper introduced the following bill, which was read twice and referred to the committee. This looks like it's got legs. This looks like it has legs. I don't know if I can. Nope, can't do that one. I do a big cheer right now. So this is Bill S3612, and this is basically saying it's a protection act. No deduction shall be denied or reduced to tax attribute shall be reduced. No basis increase shall be denied by reason of exclusion from the gross income. Wow, Rubio put himself on this one. Okay, so there's that. Now we're there. Now we're going back. That's one of the bills that they're trying to enact with this. Okay. Specifically, the AICPA supports the passage of S3612. That's what we just, now that's the Senate. Whenever you see an S in front of a bill number, that's the Senate. HR is the House of Representatives. So now we're going to go look at the bill here, HR 6821. And we're going to go back into Congress and we're going to type in HR 6821, see what that is. What do we have here? Okay, there's a George Holding, representative of the Small Business Expense Protection Act. It's the same thing in the House of Representatives. And this has 50 co-sponsors. Let's check it out. All of them are Republicans. It doesn't mean it's not going to be supported by the Democrats as well. It just means that the Republicans wrote it. And this is in the House of Representatives. They gained a few more seats in there as well. Big bill. Wow. Okay. And this one is for coronavirus assistance does not affect tax treatment of ordinary business expenses. Same thing, only for the House of Representatives. Okay, so that's what we need to do. This is showing us how to go about making this program deductible. It keeps it simple, simplifies our lives to where we can simply fill out our paperwork as we normally would with our regular business expenses, and it wouldn't affect our taxes. The AICPA is now asking members to contact their representatives. Wait, I missed something here. Hold on. Small Business Expense Protection Act of 2020 or of HR. Let's check out this one. HR 6754. Let's go ahead and check that one. This is going to be very boring for some people out there. Okay, protecting the Paycheck Protection Act of 2020. 5 co-sponsors, and it's Fletcher, Democrat from Texas. Okay, I didn't want to see your picture, but I did. Got 5 co-sponsors. This bill amends the Coronavirus Act, Relief Economic Security Act, and provide that otherwise deductible expenses and other tax incidents shall not be affected by the exclusion from gross income for a loan forgiveness under the Paycheck. Okay, cool. I like it. That sounds good to me. And that's the HR 6754 Act. It's got 5 co-sponsors. All Democrats. But hey, we got the Democrats and the Republicans on the same page with these 5 and then those 50. Okay, that's the Protecting the Paycheck Protection Act of 2020. The AICPA is now asking members to contact their representatives or senators to urge that the House of Representatives and the Senate include this legislation in any year-end must-pass bill. I think that this is kind of like a thing that we need to happen. We need it to happen now because tax season is coming up like in another month. I mean, another 60 days, we're going to be filing taxes. And if this isn't done by then, we could be in a bad place because it's very confusing. How this is all going is just very confusing. We can simplify it by getting these bills passed here and not having to worry about whether we write the wrong thing down in our paperwork, filing taxes that exclude us from getting forgiveness for the PPP. It is providing a language members can use for in writing to their senators and representatives in hopes that the Institute's more than 400,000 members can help influence Congress to act. And I'm asking everybody out there to do the same thing. Get with your congressmen and senators with these bills and tell them that you would like their support on it. We may have to do a little phone relay with this later and get this thing going. But that's what's going on as far as the PPP being forgiven or not forgiven if you don't fill out your taxes correctly. You may not see your PPP forgiven. It may exclude you from having your PPP loans forgiven. And that's what that's what we're trying to eliminate here with anybody filling out putting the wrong numbers in for their taxes that throws you off and makes it so your PPP cannot be forgiven. That would suck. You don't want to do that. So stay tuned and we will get the specifics in for you on this. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. You guys have a blessed night. Bye.